Right, what's up everyone? PureChaosX back with part 3 of the Desertwolf restoration thing. At the time of this recording, I haven't even uploaded part 2 yet, so I need to get on and do that. But yeah, part 2 will have been all the parts that I got for this, and they are now on the car, on the chassis. Everything has been replaced, including the new spoiler mount there, a bunch of new screws. I can't actually even remember what else. There's most of the stuff inside. New chassis braces and yeah, basically just things like that. And I took the whole thing apart, gave it a clean. I even made a little wire cover just there. And of course there is an overhead aircraft. Great. So yeah, most of it is all good. I took the diffs apart and cleaned them up and did things to those. Now they're nice and smooth as you can get. And obviously every single bearing has been replaced except the two in the drive shaft cups just here, but they seem to spin quite well, so I didn't bother with those. I did have to buy some E-clips for each of the diffs. These things, which you can't really see, so I had to buy some of them. They're 2.5mm, so I bought some of those. For some reason they don't fit. The ones for this are called the E 2.5mm. I don't know what the E means, so I bought some 2.5mm ones, but these are too small. They don't fit, so I basically just had to bend them with some pliers, push them on, and then bend them again. Hopefully they don't come off in the diff when it's moving. If they, yeah, I don't know. I might just have to get some proper E 2.5mm ones at some point. So, but yeah. And oh god damn it! Hang on, 2 seconds. Yes, I've screwed the center diff cover on. So I'll use my lovely Traxxas thing. I could actually just stick these into my electric drill and just unscrew it with that, but I'm not gonna. So yes, in part 3, I shall need these. Sorry, part 2. Sorry, I mentioned that those are too big. Yeah, I couldn't find a center diff, and the only one I could find was this FTX one. And the FTX diff does fit in the chassis pretty nicely. And however, I did notice a problem, which I didn't even think of when I got the diff. But it wasn't until I kind of looked at it more that I realized that something might not fit. And I basically, so as you can see, it does fit. It does fit in there. Nice and smooth-ish. I'm beginning to think I should have got some, like, not the rubber sealed ball bearings, because yeah, there's a lot more resistance on the rubber sealed ones. But hey ho. But yeah, something that I didn't actually think about is that the drive shaft does not fit in the drive cups. So there's that problem. I did a quick test and I found out that the Maverick drive cups from the front and rear diffs do fit in this diff. So I purchased some Maverick drive cups, or out drives as they're called, which I will then put into the FTX diff, hopefully. And then hopefully this drive shaft at least can fit in there and in there. And I just need to get the front drive shaft. As soon as I know this fits, I found a few drive shafts that should fit on eBay, so I'll get one of them. And once that's done, theoretically it's now a rolling chassis and should just need electronics. I do need to put oil in the shocks. I do need to paint the new body that I got. I haven't quite decided on a cover yet, colour. I was thinking of maybe trying to get some turnbuckles for the camber and the steering. Still thinking about that. So yeah, It all boils down to these fitting in that, which I know they do, but then I need to make sure that this fits in there to there. I can't see why it shouldn't, but we'll find out. So I do actually need to do that. Once I've done that, I'll come back and say, hey look, it fits. So if anyone has one of these, the FTX center diffs do fit, and I believe they do fit with these. So you'd have to get some Maverick drive cups in order to use the drive shaft. Just as a warning. So yeah, I'm gonna get on and do that, and I'll come back once the cups are in the FTX dip. So this will be a couple of minutes for me and a couple of seconds for you. So see you in a few seconds. Okay, it's got really dark in here, and I don't have very good lighting. And this took a lot freaking longer than it should do. First, I forgot to put the bearings, the bearings on, because they have to go on before you put the clips on for the drive cups. So I forgot to do that. Then I couldn't get the screw holes to line up for some strange reason, and I noticed that 2 of them are stripped. So even better. So yeah, this just kind of went from bad to worse, this thing. So, but if it fits, that's the main thing. So, which it does, although there is a... Ooh, yeah, there's actually a lot of movement there. I wonder if there's something I can get, I can put in there, like a piece of rubber. Because yeah, that is actually sticking out quite a bit. There. So I might have to try and find a way to keep that in there. But other than that, it does work. So oh, there. You know what? There we go. That's the start, I suppose. Screw these back on. It is rubbing against something in there that might wear down though. So, well, okay. So now that I know that works, I can get the front center drive shaft and fit that in, and try and find something that I can put in this drive cup to push this way a bit. I don't think I've really got anything that's really big enough. I don't know. I'll have to have a look. So yeah. Yeah. Well, there we go. That was just a quick part 3, just to let people know that if you do have one of these FTX Zorro diffs do fit, but you will have to get your own Maverick drive cups to put in there. But they do fit, it would seem. Just kind of a bit buggered out that the 2 of the screw threads are stripped. Not really sure I can do much about that. I don't know if thread lock works on plastic, on metal plastic, because isn't it for like metal into metal, not metal into plastic? So meh. Either that, or I might be able to find some screws with some slightly thicker thread. I'll have to have a look. But yeah, there we go. So that was the only problem thus far, was that diff and the drive cups not fitting. But now they do. So excellent. I can get the front center drive shaft, and theoretically it's ready for electronics. But that will be a while, because it's going to be expensive. I've toted up the electronics for this from Model Sport, and it's going to be in the range of about 230 quid. The biggest one obviously being the brushless system, and then the battery, a chunky servo, and that kind of stuff. Not to mention the fact that I do have, and I do know this, that I've got a few Tamiyas for Christmas. One of these is mine, and one's my father's. I got the Evo on the TT02. But I've also got a Ford Focus on the TT02, and my father's got the TC01. So, what that's going to involve is that I'm usually the one that ends up buying both of our electronics and paint. So I've got a fair amount to spend for Christmas on my own stuff as well as my father's. So yeah, I have no idea how long it's going to take for me to get the electronics for this. As I said, if anyone watching this and you want to help see this Maverick get back on the road, PayPal link in the description, and it will be spent on this, not those. It will be spent on this, or at least saved. If somebody was to donate enough at some point where I can actually get even just one thing for this, I would. But if it's a small donation, what's that? Okay. If it's a small donation, then obviously it'll get saved. Service at PayPal. What have I just bought? What have I just bought? What's PayPal doing? Where's my phone? Oh, okay. Just an email. So yeah, any donations will be paid. Any donations will be used to get this up and running. Other than the electronics, there's a few like little accessory parts I want to get, like some new wheels. Thankfully, not too expensive. As you can see, this one does have odd wheels, so odd tires as well. So I want to get some of those. Obviously, the paint for the new body. And there's a few other things as well, but I can't actually remember what they were. Oh well, doesn't matter. But yeah, so there's a few extra parts I want to get for it as well, like the tires and wheels. But electronics, technically speaking, will be next. No idea how long it's going to take, because I've got some expensive Christmas purchasing to do for my Tamiya's that I've got for Christmas. So yeah, so any help would be greatly appreciated. Why is it I can never get these things in shop? So it never looks right. I'm looking at my PC monitor as the viewfinder, but for some strange reason, you can't quite make it out. So yeah, there we go. I'm actually going to go and look for something that I can put in the diff to stop this from having so much movement. And wash my hands, because the grease in that diff got everywhere. So might look for some slightly thicker screws with coarser thread. So yeah, anyway, thank you for watching. That's part 3. Part 4 will be a while, and like I say, it should be the electronics for this. So yeah, I'll get uploading part 2, edit this one, and upload this, and we'll go from there. So thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll be getting this thing on the road at some point. No idea how I'm going to take any footage of it, because I don't really have any way of holding my phone while I use the controller. So we'll see. Anyway, I'm going to go now. Thank you for watching, and see you all in part 4, whenever that may be. So I'll see you then. Bye!